Hello, Malty. Mrs. Suga Marauders. And thank you, Frankie G. Frankie G has provided the malt mention for Ralphie Review 890 extras, hence the crossed fingers for X. And I've just finished reviewing this whisky, literally. Deveron from Macduff Distillery, modern distillery, relatively, only 60 years old. A jobbing distillery, a practical distillery, producing malt for blends, but also making single malts available as an official bottling relatively recently, in the last 5 years or so, because of increasing demand for single malts. I gave it a very modest mark, 81 out of 100. Not a glowing mark, but hey, it's not a glowing single malt. It's no Integrity Bottling Kalila. It's no Springbank. It's no Ardnamurchan. It's no Daffmill. It is a simple, honest whisky, and to be honest, I'm enjoying it because there's actually nothing wrong with it. All I could say is the weakness in it is it's just simple. It's lacking complexity. But hey, for me as a whisky drinker, looking for complexity and paying the premium for complexity, I have to say, I never paid a premium for this. I paid about £25 for it. Don't know if the receipt's still in here. No, it's not. I paid £25 in a supermarket. I think I get value for money. It is a single malt from Pot Stills. And although it's chill filtered, there's not a lot of caramel added. I'm not feeling that caramel effect in the finish that kind of dampens it. It's a refreshing, simple, honest single malt, which I'd be happy to pour a glass of for someone who was to tell me, hey Ralphie, I've never tasted Scotch single malt whisky before and I'm frightened of all that flavour. Give me a simple one. Here's a simple one. Deveron. Simple as it gets. But as regards availability of bottlings, it's not quite so simple, because this has featured over the years prominently amongst independent bottlers, where it has been bottled as Macduff single malt, Glendeveron single malt, and now have been bottled officially as Deveron. So there's been kind of, sometimes you see old Deveron, old Glendeveron put in the labels. Gordon MacPhail have done it, Cadenheads have done it, they've done bottlings, and they've had a very mixed reception, particularly as a younger whisky. It's not very good, it's not highly rated, but as an old aged whisky, in the late 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, you have found some absolute stunners from the independent bottlers, where the spirit has been put into a soft action cask, a second fill cask which has been thoroughly rinsed and held light flavoured previous content, possibly even grain whisky, and then or some light rum from Trinidad, for example, or a light fresh young bourbon, and it's been rinsed out so as that the previous content of cask isn't prominent, but the cask is being rinsed and rested and having had previous content to take out flavours from the wood. It's starting to get a little bit tired, but it still gets something left if you leave the whisky to go long term. In other words, 15 years plus. And it's not just Deveron or Macduff or however they choose to bottle it. You find with a lot of distilleries, like say Benrinnes is a good example, Glenkeith's a good example, Strathmill's a good example. Every now and again you get some old overlooked totally unglamorous cask from an independent bottler, which is an absolute stunner because the proactive maturation over the decades has been subtle, slight, soft, delicate, and understated. So what you get at the end of it is something which is a complex single malt through the suggestion of softer, more delicate flavours, beautifully and articulately delivered due to the amount of time that the single malt has been in that delicate action cask. So don't write off these unglamorous distilleries and as you know, as just being third rate, fourth rate, not premier grade like Springbank and Lagavulin and Bowmore. I mean, you can get some stinker bottlings from those casks. And goodness knows, some of the young official bottlings of Bowmore is just an exercise in how you can achieve the opposite of what you're hoping for a premiumised brand. You know, some of the young non-age statement Bowmores, and there's nothing new about it, they're frankly a disaster, in my opinion. Bowmore Surf, bought a bottle of that once. Surf, it was more just like a muddy low tide in a canal bank. No surf about it. It was just a featureless whiskey. But with the independent bottlers, a valuable thing that they provide is they tell you what an official bottling can be, even when it's not available. So I would say in about 5 to 10 years' time, have a look at some of the Deveron bottlings then. Official bottlings. If they're not too premiumised, you may find that there is some stunning quality bottlings, because a light signature does not necessarily fade with age. It can hold with age because it's malt from pot stills, not grain from column stills, which tend to hold on to their two-dimensional personality over time much more readily. Single malts they're simply more responsive to what the cask will do over time because it's their nature. Malted barley spirit is delicate. That's what it is. It's just a delicate spirit. It's one of the most delicate spirits you can possibly buy, which is one reason why the flavours are so chameleon and you get such an incredible range, in a way that you get no such diversity of range from any other spirit produced in the world, and not even rum. Not even rum. Another bit of information I would give you is cask knowledge. The diversity of casks being used now, and I know it's a subject that needs its own video, but I'm going to bring it up now as a precursor to get you in that kind of zone. The diversity of casks available for maturing spirits now has never been greater, and it will continue to develop. It really will, because already you're seeing more confidence in Irish whiskies about using non-oak casks with dramatic effects. But this is the speed and the pace at which this is changing is dramatic. And Scotch whisky is kind of trapped. It's stuck. It's got to use oak. Doesn't matter the quality of oak. It can be shit quality oak. And yes, there is shit quality oak out there. Unfortunately, really just fresh oak, staves, made from the wood, harvested, put through the kiln to dry it out, battered into shape using loads of machinery and overcharred, over toasted, blast toasted. It's basically a slow char. And then filled too quickly. And unfortunately, you get single malt whisky and blended whiskies in which they'll advertise it as special char and roasty, toasty and whatever. It's just that the cask's influence has been too harsh. But prominent whiskies, flavour-wise, can get away with that. They've got wriggle room. Your Taliskers, your Lagavulins, particularly as young whiskies. It's amazing what phenolics will cover over in terms of poor quality casks. They'll kind of save the day, so to speak. But with delicate whiskies, unglamorous whiskies, the diversity of casks are only going to work if those casks are good quality and prepared carefully, because delicate single malts, simple single malts, will not tolerate an abusive cask. And this is something else to be aware of, looking into the future, of the likes of whiskies which at the moment an experienced malt head may say, well, I'm not going to waste my money in that because it's too simple. It's nothing special. But we've now got to kind of think ahead future-wise. Now we know what a whisky is today. Now we have the experience to know what whisky was yesterday, 5 years ago, even 10 years ago. We now have our points of reference in which we can now project into the future if the distilleries continue under sensitive, careful and professional management. And that's so, so important. And we can predict which whiskies in the future are going to be demanding of our intention, and which are we're going to fork out the money out our wallets, whether we're still using cash or using our key card, signature card, whatever card, or Bitcoin, I don't know. The thing about moving from the known towards the unknown is to use the experience of life to formulate your basic prediction patterns and sequences. And we can do this with whisky with great success. I'm through with this. I'm sharing the knowledge, I'm sharing the wisdom, sharing the experience, malt mates. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, click likey, subscribe and bang the bell, etc. If you're a Patreon pal, still get some of these flasks available for sale. You'll find it on Patreon. The special Ralphie commissioned flasks. And of course my books are both on sale in Amazon and increasingly specialist reputable bookshops. Thank you for watching. Bless you lots. May your malt moments be merry and many. I'm Ralphie, waving you bye-bye. Bye-bye.